Welcome again to It's Possible Podcast. Today is amazing. I have with me Che Willis. Man, if you want to hear, you want to know about money, budgeting, this is your guy. Che, please take a minute and introduce yourself to the people and tell them what you have for them, please. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you so much for having me on this Possible Podcast. I appreciate it. My name is Che Willis, like you said. I help families living paycheck to paycheck, live the life that they want to live through budgeting and investing. I have been budgeting for years, even back to when I was a teenager, buying my first car when I was 16. And then when I bought my first house at 23 years old.
Oof.
And got into the real estate game and was buying real estate. But we'll get into that in a little bit. But
Yeah.
I teach people how to budget. And if you do not know how to budget, and it's very scary to people, and I understand that. But if you don't know how to budget, then your money is just going to go everywhere. It's just going to go because you have no control over it. So I teach people how to control their money. And then once you have control over your money, you can invest it. And once you invest it, then that money starts making more money. So that's what I help people do, man. And it's fun. It's fun. So
That's powerful because as you were saying that, I was thinking about this quote where they say, money is a good servant, but a bad master. So
correct.
as you were saying, you tell money what to do. It's like you become the master of money.
Correct. Yeah,
That,
you have to, especially if you want to build wealth. Now, if you don't want to build wealth, then that's fine. Keep
yeah.
going, just buying anything that comes up. Like, hey, I see something on sale, I'm gonna go ahead and buy that because I got the money to do it. But for those who are looking to change their family tree and leave something for their kids, their nieces,
Yeah.
nephews, things of that nature, then you're going to want to have control over your money.
Wow. So you bought your car at 23, your house at
Bought my first
23.
bought my first house at 23. I graduated from Cheney University when I was 21 years old. And I've always been the type of person who kind of had a plan, if that makes sense. I didn't know exactly how to get where I wanted to go, but I at least had a baseline for what I wanted. So I wanted to buy my first house by 23. And what I said to myself was, I need to start saving money.
Mm-hmm.
So if I need to start saving money, I have to set up a budget or a plan or telling my money where to go. Because I know that word budget is very scary to people.
Yeah.
So
Don't tell me you bought this house cash.
no.
Okay.
I did not. So what I did was I did go through the first home buyers program, made sure all my credit and all that stuff was right.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I had to save up. I think it was $5,000.
Yeah.
And then I got the seller's assist through the first home buyers program. So they gave me $3,000. So I had $8,000 going to the table and bought my first house.
That's powerful. Right? A 23-year-old person thinking about buying a home, right?
Yeah.
So it's time you would be thinking about partying, going out, hanging out.
Well, Wilkin, I will tell you, I did that too. I did so I don't want you to think, and I don't want to give off that, well, now this guy got it all together. No.
Yeah.
I was out there wilding out in them streets. I was out in the streets, Wilkin. But I always had that vision of I didn't want to live in an apartment and somebody to live somewhere without having some type of ownership, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So, always wanted to do that, and I knew in order to do that, then I had to save up money to get the down payment to get the house. So that's what I did.
So where did you learn that? Is that something you learned from your parents or from somebody else?
I will say, Wilkin, that when I grew up, I didn't have everything that I wanted. I had everything that I needed for the most part.
Okay.
But I knew in order for me to get the things that I wanted, I had to save up for it because my parents did everything that they could for me, but they couldn't necessarily give me the extras, if that made sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew like other cultures that I went to high school with, because I went into high school at a nice high school out. You know, if you heard of Kobe Bryant, I went to school with Kobe Bryant.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so I went to school at Lower Marion, but when I came back home, everything that I saw at school was a little different. So I
Hmm.
saw the other cultures that had the nice cars and their parents were pulling up the mansions. That wasn't my reality. So I
Hmm.
knew the things that I wanted, I was going to have to work for them. So sometimes when I was in high school, I was working two jobs and I was on the football team. I enjoyed
Wow.
football, but I knew in order to get my car at 16, I was going to have to work for it. So that
Wow.
carried on through when I was in college, and then I got my house at 23. So
That's powerful. So, being in college, you had to work. You had
yeah,
two jobs
no, that was high school.
in
I had
high
two
school.
jobs in
Oh,
high school.
wow. In high school, you had two jobs.
Yeah. Now they weren't anything crazy. I
No,
worked at a
no,
movie
no. I
theater.
mean, Shay, let me tell you this. It's that it's something crazy because it's not the norm,
Yeah,
right? You're a celebrity because you're doing things that not everybody can do. You understand? This is what a celebrity is. So now you're telling me that you were in high school, you have two jobs, you
mhm,
were also in sport
yeah,
plus your school.
yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah. That's one thing that I did get from my parents: a strong work ethic. It was work. I lived with my grandparents at the time because my parents, they lived in Philly, and the school system where I was at in Lower Marion was way better than Philly. So I stayed at my grandmom's house. And my grandmother, very, very strong work ethic. My grandfather, very, very strong work ethic. So I was around that. So I at least had that.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? So then I went and worked. And I knew in order to get the things that I wanted, I had to work for them. So
yeah. And that's what you just said here. The work ethic is really powerful because
mhm,
sometimes people have goals, they have the dreams, but they know what they want, but they cannot do the work.
correct. Well, can I got I'm gonna push back on that one at a little bit, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna, hopefully you'll understand my heart. I talk to a lot of different people who say that they want a level of wealth, right? They want to, get their finances in order and things of that nature. But as you talk to different people, and not all of them, but as you
Hmm.
talk to different people, and I'm sure you encounter these people as well. A lot of people say that they want things, and then you'll tell them, "Hey, this is how you get it," but they don't want to. They don't want to put the work in. They don't want to put the work. They know what they need to do, but a lot of people don't want to put the work in to get where they want to go, and it's sad, but that's the reality for a decent amount of people.
I believe in this case, we can see it in different angles, more than one or two angles,
For sure.
because some people, they know what they want. They want to do the work, but they don't have the work ethic to do the work.
Hmm.
Some people, they know what they want. They uh they know they have to do the work, but they don't really know, but they're not willing to pay the price. That's what I wanted to say. Another
Exactly.
group of people. So
Exactly.
some people are willing to pay the price, but
Correct.
they don't have the habits
Yes.
to get it going.
Yeah.
Some people, they just don't want to pay the price for it. It's too much. They want this $1 million, or they want this house, but they're
Mhm.
not willing to pay the price for this.
Correct.
It
Yeah.
doesn't make. I'm just putting out my thoughts. I don't know if it makes
You're
sense.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's a lot. The things that you say you want, whatever it is, there's a lot that comes with that. There's a lot of sacrifices, especially if the goals are bigger. Which
Mm,
is the reason why I'm glad that I started small. I started at a $500 car, and then my first house was I think it was $67,000, and then
okay.
my next house was, I think it was 225,000. and then the next house after that was a lot more than that. So you start off small with your goals, and then you
Mm-hmm.
build on top. You just keep building and building and building, and it makes it easier once you get to that bigger goal. Now, if you're starting at a huge goal and you don't have the work ethic and you don't have the proof of hitting the smaller goals,
Mm.
it's a lot harder to do.
That's yeah. So you just help somebody here. Because sometimes, yes, when you see the work that's in front of you to do this big thing that you want to achieve, you say, man, it's too much, right? You can't do it. But if you put a small goal and you see yourself achieving that,
Hmm.
you have a sense of achievement
Correct.
that can push you to do something greater than that.
And it gives you faith
Mm.
to accomplish bigger goals, because you're like, oh well, whatever you believe in, I believe in God, believe in Jesus, and I
Yes.
believe that God graced me to be able to do things, but you have to put the work in to achieve the small thing and then achieve bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But you have to have the faith and belief that you can do the small thing first, and then when you accomplish the small thing, that'll
Mm-hmm.
faith and say, hey, well, God took care of me back here. I have a bigger goal now that I want to achieve. So I believe that because he took care of me back here and here and here and here, that this bigger goal is nothing.
Mm. Wow. Yeah, that's powerful. I love that. Because most of the times we want to start on the top,
Correct.
not building the foundation,
Yeah.
and you cannot build the top before you build the foundation. So
Correct.
that's wow, man. That's really powerful. So you help families living from paycheck to paycheck to live the life that they desire.
Correct. Correct.
So how do you do that? Because even before you get the check, it's gone.
That's true. That could be true. That's not true for everybody.
Okay.
So what I do is find out their why. Why do you want to do this thing, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
your financial goal? Excuse me. And then once you tell me that, we map out, okay, you're making this amount of money, you have these amount of expenses.
Mm-hmm.
Based on what you have left over after your expenses are gone, that's going to dictate how much more work you have to do, whether it's getting another job, maybe getting rid of some things that you're paying for currently, uh,
Mm-hmm.
subscriptions, or a high car note that you can't afford, or maybe a house that you're living in that you can't really afford, uh,
Mm-hmm.
trips, or we'll be able to find things that you're currently doing to get you to where you say you want to go. And the reason I ask them what your why is because you have to keep that in front of you. Because if it's something new for you to do, you're going to want to quit.
Mm.
Especially if it's new. You have a bad day, and then you're like, oh, I got to set my budget up, or you're having a bad day, and then something comes along to make your day even worse, and then you're thinking about your goal, and you don't want to hear it. But the thing is,
Mm-hmm.
like, you have to keep that in front of you. Like, that's the thing that's going to drive you to keep going. So that's why I ask people what their why is, so they can keep that in front of
Okay.
them. It's so easy to give up,
All
especially.
right. So how long may it take somebody to, well, everybody have different goals and their
Correct.
level of income is also different,
Correct.
right? So, but in average,
Mhm.
how long would you say it would take someone living from paycheck to paycheck to start living the life they desire? Like
Well,
I know it doesn't really have a clear and exact answer, but you're the expert.
I'll use myself. I'll use
Okay.
myself. Because people, after we set their budget up, like, I'll follow up with them. Hey, did you set your budget up for the following month, or whatever the case may be? I'll ask them following up, because again, it's something new, so they may fall off.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about me. I had a goal about 3 years ago, about 2 3 years ago, to buy a Tesla. Now Teslas are around 50 grand, right? The one that I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
but I knew that that's what I wanted. And I mapped out how long it was going to take me based on my current income. If I didn't get any bonuses or anything like that at work, how long it was going to take me. Now, if those bonuses came in and my budget supported me putting extra to paying for the Tesla with cash, I don't do
Mm-hmm.
part anymore. But the thing is, so we mapped it out, and then it took about 3 years to do it. So I bought the Tesla back in June of this year, and another goal that we had was paying our house off. Now that took a long time. That took 7 years, took 7.5 years, and we just paid our house off a couple of days ago. So,
Wow.
so we
Congratulations.
appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was a long, hard road. So when I'm telling people that you may fall off, keep your why in front of you. It's
Mm-hmm.
because I know from experience, because I'm living exactly what I'm telling you to do.
Mm.
So I mean, that's like we listen to the Social Proof podcast, and he tells us, hey, go get some social proof. Like, this is the proof. I'm telling you everything that I'm doing.
Yeah.
All the excuses and all the things, like, we gotta get those out. We gotta remove the excuses, because
Wow.
in 7 years, my wife and I, we've done so much, but we had so many obstacles. We had so many hurdles. We had so many opportunities to give up.
Mm.
Kept our why in front of us. Our why is our son. Our why is how we grew up. Not
Mm-hmm.
to grow up the same way we grew up.
Wow.
So, so it's very important for us to live a different way, to show him things early, and so then he knows how to budget when he gets older. So he doesn't have to make the same mistakes we did, because he already has the blueprint, because he's living with us,
Mm-hmm. It
and
makes
he knows what,
sense.
and he knows what's possible, because
Yeah.
so
That's good. So 7 years to pay your house off. Is it
mhm.
from the day you bought it, or
So
from the?
we bought our house in 2016. I think
Okay.
February 2016, and we just paid it off on the 16th of November.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you do that?
Telling. So a lot of people, when I tell them to set up a budget plan, telling your money where to go, whatever, like, they think that I'm just blowing smoke. Like, no, this is how you do it. And how much money you make, your income, and your expenses, which are huge, are going to dictate what you can or can't do.
Hmm.
So if you need to make more money based on what you have at the end, so say you have um, your income, and then you have your house note, then you have your car note, and then you have your student loans, and then credit cards, and
Hmm.
then your electric bill, gas, and you have all these things, and then at the end of all of your expenses, you're left with $100.
Yeah.
That your budget is going to dictate what you can do with that $100. If you're going to pay debt, if you're going to pay on your debt. So if you have no debt, right? So I'm glad you said that. If you have no debt, which we had no consumer debt, we didn't have credit card debt, we didn't have car payments, we didn't have any of those things. So the more money that you have, the more money you get to keep.
Mm-hmm.
The more money you get to keep, you can dictate where that money goes. So in our case, we had that money go towards our car or vacations and different things of that nature. So that's what we did with our money. But you telling your money what to do is going to be person specific based on where you say you want to go.
Yeah.
That's where we wanted to go.
Okay. So, do you have any type of formula on how to pay the house off faster? Because most of the loans are 30 years,
Hmm.
right? They take 30 years to pay a house off. Now, in 7 years, that means everybody would like to do that.
For sure.
This is 7 years you pay your home off. So, what type of formula could you share with the people?
Formula, and that's what I'm saying. There's no magic pill. Like, you find out how much your mortgage is, right?
Yeah.
And if you have no consumer debt, if you don't have any credit cards, if you don't have any student loans, if you don't have any car note,
Mm-hmm.
The money that you make, other than your house expenses, you get to keep. So if you know that your mortgage, I'm just throwing a number out there, is $200,000, then you put as much money as possible that your budget will allow
Mm.
onto the extra principal after you make your regular payment.
Yeah.
The more principal payments you make, that interest is going to go down.
Mm-hmm.
What happens is, if you, I don't know if you have a mortgage or whatever the case may be, but if you look at your mortgage statement, you'll see a lot of times your interest is more than the principal. So the more principal payments that you make, the interest is going to decrease,
Mm-hmm.
and then your principal payment is going to be more. You're going to be putting more on your principal than your interest, but you have to get to that point. So the formula is to set up a plan, budget, tell your money where to go, whatever you want to call it, and then put as much money as possible onto the on top of the regular payment as possible. So every month, when my wife and I we budgeted, we said we had a meeting every month. We sat down before the first of that month came, and then we said, okay, well, how much are we going to put down on extra principal on our mortgage? And we did that every month,
Mm.
and it's about consistency. You got to be consistent, and you got to have a plan, and you don't stop until you reach the goal. Now, we had a vision board, and on that vision board it said January 1st, 2023, we would have our mortgage paid off. That obviously did not happen. It didn't happen until November 16th, 2023.
Okay.
But the thing is, if you don't have a plan, then if you don't have anything to aim at, you're going to hit it every time.
Mm-hmm.
Hit nothing every time.
That
So
man, that's powerful what you just said. Because one thing is, some people say, "Man, I'm making payments and I see the money stays, the loan stays the same." So
yeah,
they don't have any money going towards the principal. They are
correct,
only paying the interest.
correct. And if
And
you think about it, that's where your interest is coming from. It's coming from the principal. So
yeah,
if you pay more of the principal down, then the interest is going to go down with it. So
man, somebody's gonna pay their house off in 3 years from now.
I hope so, man. Because also, Wilkin, like the thing now that in order for you to do something, you have to know that it's possible.
Yes.
And knowing it's possible is seeing somebody else do it. And once you see somebody else do it, and then you do it, and then somebody sees you do it, and then they'll do it, and then it's like then that becomes the norm.
Yeah.
I understand that everybody doesn't want to pay their house off, but if you think about why we paid our house off, now we can invest more. Now we can go on trips more and not feel bad because we're running up our credit cards and things of that nature. But again, you have to keep the why in front of you. And again, our why is our son and the way we grew up, and we never want him to experience the things that we had to experience growing up.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't all bad. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't all bad,
Yeah.
but like we want to be able to live and have extras and be able to do the things whatever we want to do. And we had to work hard for it. We had to work very hard for it. Um, but we're here now, and I would never have it any other way, ever.
Wow.
Yeah,
Man, that's great. That's good. That's good. Somebody's gonna be using this, man. That's a that's a bar, as we say, it just dropped right here. Right?
yeah,
So pay more money towards the principal.
hmm
And it lowers the principal, it also lowers the interest.
yeah,
And it becomes like a circle, right? As much you lower your principal, as much your interest is going down.
yeah, yep,
That's the formula.
yeah. And also the thing, Wilkin, is people because it's the norm to have a payment.
Mm,
Think about a world that you live in, you specifically, or somebody else is listening to this specifically, a world that you live in where you have no payments. Like that, it's possible. Like that's reality,
yeah.
people. But we're caught up in the I want it now, I need it now, and and then we end up getting ourselves in trouble. And if that's fine for people, that's fine. I'm fine with it. But
Yeah.
that's not what I wanted for my life. So I knew that I had to do different things in order to live the life that I wanted to live.
Wow. So you waited 3 years to buy your car.
Hmm. Yeah.
Th- Wow. So
Yep.
why did you want a Tesla?
Well, because it was the greatest car that I've ever. I test drove one back in
Okay.
2020 in the pandemic. I was like, all right, I want a new car because what happened was is the first car that I had before I had the Toyota Camry. I had a Toyota Camry before I bought the Tesla. I had a Lexus ES350, greatest car I've ever driven. Right. So me, I saved up enough money to buy another one, but
Hmm.
the job that I have, I'm always on the road. So I'm beating the car up a lot of miles and so forth, right? So I'm like, it doesn't make sense for me to buy another Lexus ES350, even though that's what I wanted. So I
Okay.
took an expensive route, and I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to buy a Toyota Camry. So I bought the Toyota Camry. That saved me about $7,000 ish. And then what I did was I did some home projects because we had just moved into this house. Not
Hmm.
after I got the Camry, or not too long before I bought we got the house, and then I got the Camry. So basically what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Got some home projects done, and I started driving in the Camry. I'm like, yo, this car it's a good car.
Hmm.
It wasn't what I wanted. It was very uncomfortable. I'll say that. So I waited for years, and I'm like, you know what? It's almost time for me to get a new car. So I planned out. I said in a few years I'm gonna get a new car. So what car do I want? So I test drove the Tesla. My boy had a Tesla. I'm like, yo, what do you think about the car? He's like, the car is great. There's no oil changes. A lot of the things that you're paying for now, you don't have to pay for. The only thing you got to do is just change the tires every few, I think, months or years, or what I think it's a year or two, because the car is so heavy, it wears the tires out.
Mm.
You don't have to do a lot of the things you're doing with cars that have engines in them. So I'm like, all right, cool. Let me go test drive. So I went to the mall. I test drove the car. Greatest car I've ever driven. Greatest car. It's smooth. It
Yeah.
sounds amazing. It's a great car, and you don't have to do a lot of the things that you do with a car with an engine in it. Also, my job, they give me a stipend for my car. So the electric car, they give you way more money
Mm.
for the car than they did for uh,
Okay.
engine, which is the
That's
reason why.
good.
That's why I got the Tesla.
Yeah, the reason I asked is because during these 3 years, you could have said, man, I don't want a Tesla anymore. I want this, right? So you had it clear in your mind exactly what you wanted and why you wanted it. So
Yep.
you can stay on track. And when the time comes, you go get what you wanted.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a bar right there. Yes. If you want something bad enough, you will make it happen. And a lot of people do that now. You want something bad enough, you want the Gucci, the Louis, the Jordans, you want that bad enough, you go get them. But my thing is, if you think long term,
Hmm.
it's greater, and it helps with patience, because a lot of us, we don't have patience. I don't have a lot of patience, but this process helps me be more patient.
And one thing I'm thinking about right now is when you sit down and you wait that time to get something
Yep.
and you see the money in your hand and you're going to get it,
Yeah.
you really need to want this thing
Yeah.
because when you get it on credit, you don't see the money and you
Correct.
don't wait. It can be some type of emotion or something like this. You get it. But
Yeah.
when you have that $50,000 in your hand
Yeah.
and you're going to give it to someone to get the thing you want, so this is something you really want.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. It requires some discipline.
For sure. Absolutely, man. Discipline is the key, man. Like, you got to have a plan. You got to have the discipline, and it's not something that discipline just happens all of a sudden, man. You just, again, you got to take a step. You take a step, and then you build on that in faith, and you keep building, and you keep building, and if
Mm.
you continue to build on that, then you can do anything, man. Like, if you have discipline, and you have a plan, what can't you do? Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Wow. But we want it now, man. I mean, why?
Bro, listen, I get it. I get it. But I've been doing this long enough where I built up the patience and saying, okay, I know I want it now,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't get it right now. It's gonna come at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get it right now. Now, I will tell you this, Wilkin. When I was in the process of getting the car, it was maybe 3 months before I got the car. And I was like, I'm so tired of waiting. I've been waiting this long. I've been waiting for 2 and some change years. I'm tired of waiting. Maybe I'll get a Model 3 because it was cheaper because I had the money for that.
Mm-hmm.
And the Model Y long range, that's the car that I wanted. But I was so tired of waiting that I'm like, forget it. I'm gonna just go and get the Model 3. I called my boy up and he was like, yo, you're bugging right now. You waited this long. You might
Yeah.
wait. It's only a couple more months. What is a couple more months going to do? I said, you know what? You're right. So you need people in your corner too. That's going to kind of help
Mm-hmm.
you off the ledge also.
True.
They know where you're trying to go.
Mm-hmm.
So accountability partner also is huge for those times you get.
Yeah. So, budgeting.
Yeah.
Well, what is the percentage you would say? Do you have a formula? You say this percentage of your money has to go to your house. This has to go to your food. Anything like that, or the way you teach people?
No. So I tell them, so what I do is we go through what they're currently spending.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me where they want to go. And they tell me what they're currently spending. They tell me what their income is. Now, if your income doesn't support a $1,500 food budget,
Mm-hmm.
based on what you told me that you want, you may need to shave this down a little bit.
Mm.
If you're going to the gym, some people have 2 and 3 gym memberships.
Oh wow.
Yeah, maybe because what happens is you get one gym membership and then you like something that this other gym does, and then there's something that this other gym does, and then you get so used to paying it, it's just like, all right, I'm just paying for these
That's
memberships.
true.
They may only be doing one or none.
Yeah.
Then I ask the question, like, how often are you going to these places? Well, I'm only going to one. Okay, well, cool. Let's cut these other 2 off. That'll save you another, $100 or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And then what I do is that we find out how much debt they have, because that's what's really going to free you up. The money that you have coming in. That's what's really,
Mm-hmm.
because you get to keep all the money that you make. So all the extra money goes towards the debt, the smallest one first, and then you roll that into the next smallest one, and then roll it into the next. It's basically like
Mm-hmm.
a debt snowball. So if you look up the Dave Ramsey program, it's called a debt snowball, and that's how I got to where I am today. I use
Mm.
the Dave Ramsey program.
That's
So
powerful.
yeah, yeah.
So budgeting and investing or investment, right? So
Mhm.
what type of investment do you help them do, or do you teach the people when you work with them?
So I tell them, first of all, I ask them, what kind of investor are you? Okay.
Okay.
It's more so like beginner investors, because a lot of people don't know where to start.
Yeah.
So I did trial and error. I did Robinhood. And then once I was done with Robinhood, I'm like, okay, well, Fidelity is where I want to be, because you can invest
Mm-hmm.
in mutual funds and or ETFs, where exchange traded funds, which is something similar to a mutual fund, but it just has.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is ask them what companies they like, and then we research the company, and then I start them off with ETFs, because there's a lot less risk. So say you buy
Mm-hmm.
Apple, right? Just a for instance, you buy Apple shares, and then Apple has a bad day. So say it's at 190 now, and then tomorrow it drops down to $80, or I'm sorry, $180. You lost $10, and depending on however many shares you have, you're going to lose that money. But if you buy an ETF might have Apple, it might have Microsoft, it might have
Mm-hmm.
Nvidia. It's just a bowl of companies. So if one company
Oh.
has a bad day, then it's not going to drag your portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
So what is ETF?
ETF is an exchange traded fund. So it's basically
Mm.
something similar to a mutual fund, but a mutual fund has a mutual fund manager. There's somebody who actually actively manages the fund. It was a tongue twister. They actively manage the fund, right? Now ETF is not actively managed. So with that actively managed fund, you got to pay that person who's managing it.
Mm-hmm.
Fees associated with that. So the more fees you're paying, the less money you're going to make. With the exchange traded fund, there's less fees. So depending on what they want to do, I would more so point them into ETFs, because there's a lot of different companies in ETFs the same as mutual fund, but there's just less fees over here. Does that make
Mm.
sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
So,
get sophisticated and they want to start doing single stock investing, then they can look inside of the ETF and see what companies are inside of the ETF, and then start investing in those and start looking at charts and different things of that nature. So
mhm.
it's a whole thing, but that's what I start them off with. Yeah.
That's powerful. So, do you also do the charts and day
No,
trading or things like that?
no.
Okay.
Because again, growth is a journey, right? So
Yeah.
for me anyway, the trading and stuff like that, it's an art. It's a skill that you have to possess. Me
Mm-hmm.
personally, I don't have time for that because I have a day job as well. So I don't have time to look at charts and do all the things. Now, do I look at charts? Yes. But do I study charts? No, I don't.
Okay.
So in order for you to be a good trader, you got to study charts. You
That's
got to
right.
stick patterns and all those things. I don't have time for that. So I do
Mm.
long term investing.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
That's
invest
powerful.
over and over and over and over again in some different ETFs and some single
Mm-hmm.
stocks.
All right. So, wow. So somebody living paycheck to paycheck, they come to you, you take
Mhm.
that person, check out their expenses, their debts, how much money they make, and see how much is left to them. And that money can go towards investment or towards building the dream that they want to build.
Mhm. And in order to do that, you, in order to build wealth, you got to have money.
Yeah.
So in order to have the money, you got to get rid of the stuff you're paying out, which is consumer debt.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a lot of credit cards, if you have a lot of student loans, if you have a lot of car payments and things that are robbing you from living the life that you want to live, we have to get rid of those things before we can start investing heavy.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, realistically, you can invest $100 a month if that's what your budget supports. But think about if you're investing $1,500 a month,
Yeah.
more headway you can make. And the only way you're really going to be able to do that is investing the money that you get to keep by getting rid of your consumer debt.
Yeah.
And then if you have no house payment, then it really
Wow.
gets.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So that's what we've been working on for years.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is, man, that's powerful. I mean, whoa. Because people would say, man, go ahead, get yourself 10 credit cards and then
Sure.
use your cards. Never use your debit card. Use your credit card to pay everything that you're paying.
Yeah.
And it's a total different thing out there.
Yeah. It's and that's what I love about what we did, my wife and I, is when everybody was going right, we were going left.
Mm.
And I'm not going to knock somebody if we're both getting to the same destination. We just had different routes to get
Mm-hmm.
there. So if you have a guru or if you have somebody saying, "Hey, use your credit cards and so forth," and it sounds good, think to yourself, if you are a millionaire, if you want to be a millionaire, do you have $1 million in assets? And so if you have $2 million in assets and then you have $1 million in liabilities,
Mm-hmm.
by definition, you're a millionaire.
Yeah.
But if you have $2 million in assets and zero liabilities, then
You're
you're a multi
multi-million.
you're a multi
Yeah.
So if you want to be a millionaire, I don't know how you can do that if you're over leveraged. If you have the same amount of assets and the
Mm-hmm.
same amount of liabilities, the math doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
As being a millionaire anyway. So if that's what you want to be, I would make sure that if the guru is telling you that that's where they can lead you, just make sure that they can show you exactly how that plan is going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of are like credit driven, like credit, but we never talk about the stuff has to get paid back at some point,
Sure.
which is the reason why it's important to have a budget, because that's going to tell you how to a plan, a formula, how to pay the thing back. So you
Mm-hmm.
can be a
Hmm. Man, that's amazing.
it's
So,
it's different, man. I'll tell you that it's different from what a lot of people are saying. I understand that,
yeah,
um, but it's again, it's possible, because we've done it, and there's countless other people who have done it as well. But they may not be in our community. You know what I'm saying?
that's
They may
right.
not be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. It like if you do it, if I do it, if somebody else does it, and then people are watching us, then they can know that it's possible for them as well, and they don't have to go the credit
Yeah.
route. A lot of us don't know how to pay things back.
True. Yeah.
Taught.
Mm.
So
So let's say someone is okay, they are good with this and they are trying to do it, but the money they are making is not enough. After they pay their bills, they don't have anything left to budget or whatever. So you say they could go get a second job or find another way to generate more income.
correct. Yeah. Yeah. And I think the very, very important piece of what you just said, and it's true, it's not forever. A lot of people,
Mm,
oh, I gotta get a second job. I gotta get a second job forever. It's not the case. You get the second job until you don't need it anymore. Once
mm,
once you pay off the things that you need to pay off, you're going to have the extra money. So then you don't need that job anymore. Unless you
mm-hmm.
want to continue to get extra income, you can do that. But like then you're going to be away from your family, and then that I don't know if you're married or not, but like me,
Yes.
my wife, and all that. That's not going to work for an extended period of time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm married. I have kids. So thinking about
Yeah.
second job. Yeah. But that's good. But if you can find ways to generate more income so that you
Hmm.
can put towards your goals, and yeah, that man,
Yeah.
this is powerful.
Yeah.
And just
Appreciate.
for the sake of paying your house in 7 years, man,
Yeah.
it's worth it.
But I'll tell you this as a believer, I and it's not popular, but I talked to God. I prayed a lot, and God gave me different things, and He added to me. Like because
Hmm.
when I was 21, I graduated from college, and I've always had in my head that I want to be able or be in a position to retire by the time I'm 45. And I had one way of doing it, which is to the credit route, buy whole
Hmm.
rental properties and leverage them through the bank's money and use other people's money and so forth and so on. But then I was introduced to another way to do it, which is the Dave Ramsey program.
Yeah.
Now I do have rental properties and I own them free and clear. And now my house is paid for. So it was again same destination, different route.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
so then also, Wilkin, which we're not taking into account is that you don't once you get rid of your payments and stuff, you don't have to work as hard. Especially if you have a
True.
budget, you know where your money's going and you know how much money you have going in, you know how much money you have coming out. You don't have to work as hard because your payments are a lot less because
Yes.
all you're doing now is you're just paying your electric, you're paying your heat, you're paying your taxes at this point. You don't have car payments, you don't have a house note, all these different things, but that's another thing that you can take into account to help
Hmm.
your goal. Like
Yeah.
once you
That
get money and stuff like that, like it's a whole process, but it's doable.
it is. It's possible. and it's practical.
Yeah.
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 Man, that's great. That's great. That's great. So, wow. So, what is your message to the world? I would say.
To the world, my message is you can do it. It will take hard work. If you're married, to have that accountability partner and for you guys to work together. Because one thing I didn't say is that for the first 10 years of my wife and I, we've been married for 18 years. The first 10 years of our marriage, we were working separately. So I had
Mm,
my money over here, she had her money over here, but our stuff was not combined.
mm,
So what happened was when I came to her and said, "Hey, we should probably put our finances together," that's when the magic happened. And I know a lot of us, black people, brown people, like we work independently of our.
mm-hmm.
So once we put our finances together and we work together as a team, that's when the magic happens.
Hmm.
My message for married people, anyway, if you are not working together with your spouse, you got to put it together, and you got to get over those tough conversations about how she spends money, how he spends money, because those conversations are real.
Yes.
And the only way I know that is from experience,
Yeah.
social proof. You know what I'm
That's
saying? So
powerful.
yeah, man, work together, and beautiful things happen. Now, if you and for the single people and the other people who are listening, if you don't know how to do something and you say that you want to go somewhere, we have so many resources now that are out there. You have the internet, you have myself, you have YouTube, and different things of that nature. There's books.
Mm-hmm.
There's big over that. That's what set me on a path. That you got Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad Poor
Rich Dad
Dad.
Poor Dad. Yeah.
There's a lot of different resources out there. Now, I don't agree with everything that he says in the book, and that's fine. I'm not, nobody's going to agree with everything, but
Yeah.
those are the resources that'll set you on the path to get you where you say you want to go. But don't
Good.
sit on the line and watch everybody else do well out here. Like this stuff is out here for you as well. So it's time to.
That's good. So let's say someone they already paid their house off
Mhm,
and they have money coming in,
mhm.
but they don't know what to do with that money. They just drop the money in the bank or whatever, and they're looking to do something with their money. How
Mhm.
can you help these people?
So if you don't know what to do, I would say park the money, keep it where it's at, because you don't want to think that this guy had a good idea over here. I got a bunch of money sitting over here, so I'm gonna go
Mm-hmm.
invest it over here. No, whatever you're comfortable with, do that. If you have
Okay.
if you have a passion, like I love real estate, that's where my money's going. Like ultimately, that's where it's going. It's going into the stock market until I have enough money, cash, to buy
Mm-hmm.
real estate. That's me. You might be the person who wants to invest in their friend's business. The friend has a really good plan. You researched it. You did all your due diligence. You had people look over it and so forth. Invest it over there. But if you're not comfortable, and understand this, investment has considerable risk.
Yeah.
Not comfortable losing this money that you have over here, don't invest it. Put it
Oof.
in the bank, or a savings bond or something like that, where you're going to be guaranteed, whatever your percentages are, that you have it in that savings bond or whatever the case may be. But
Mhm.
if you're not comfortable losing the money, do not invest it.
Do not. This is a hard truth.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, you freed somebody here today, man. I know this is a lot of value in this video here for people to learn. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Man, it's been like about 10 minutes, but we went over an hour.
Well, no, I hope I added value. But what I will say, Wilkin, is that I know that when you get somebody who says something that's against what you normally hear, it's a hard pill to swallow. But I'm here as an example that this system, the process, it does take a while, but anything worth working for is worth it.
Yeah.
then you can go back and tell somebody else, like, yo, this worked. And then you can have that testimony for somebody else.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely worth it. But I hope it added value to somebody.
Hey man, no, that's powerful, man. That this is power. More people need to hear that, because you know how many people are losing money and dropping money in whatever comes their way
Yeah,
because they don't really know. They don't have the discipline.
right.
They haven't built the discipline. They have not learned the things
Yeah,
So, man,
yeah,
thousands of dollars people dropping things they don't even know how it's gonna work.
correct. Yeah, and I did the same thing. I did when the crypto thing was out and everybody was investing in Dogecoin, and yeah, that's the next thing. Oh, all right, cool. Let me invest a couple $100 in there,
Wow,
and then phew, my money
goes
went down.
all the way down.
What am I doing? Why am I doing? Why am I investing? I don't even know what this stuff is.
Yeah.
Everybody else is saying that this is the next thing, but I'm supposed to be a long-term investor. I'm only saying these things because I have the proof. That's the only reason I'm able to be
Yeah.
on this podcast saying these things, because I've done the things, I made the mistakes, and I'm here to tell you that it's a journey. It's a journey. It's going to take a while.
Wealth is a journey.
Yeah, it's going to take a while. And one last thing, Wogan, I'll say, man, is that there's a lot of things as far as like the economy, and they're talking about recession and different things of that nature. That is a lot of times when people like make the most money,
Mm-hmm.
because when things are going bad over here, people are losing their houses and things of that nature. People that have money are going
Mm-hmm.
to be right in
They
there
are
and swoop their
buying.
house for dirt cheap. And that's how
Yeah.
their families. So it's going to be very important for us as Black people, brown people, to have your money in order, your plan, your budget, telling your money where to go. It's very important because you don't want to be that person that loses your house because you didn't have a plan for your money.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Overspent. You didn't have an emergency fund set aside somewhere for if you did lose your job, and now
Mm.
you don't have physical money to pay your lender, then you're going to lose your house.
Yeah.
And I don't wish that on anybody, but that's what happens.
That's reality.
It's very, very important for us to make sure that we have our budget, so we know exactly what we have, and if we need to build up on emergency funds for those rainy days, because rainy days are coming, we'll have the money sitting there, and if we do lose a job, we can be out of work for a couple months, and it's not a terrible thing because we have money saved up
Yeah.
for that specific reason.
Powerful.
Yeah,
That's powerful, man. Man, Che, thank you so much, man.
no
So,
doubt
man,
about
I'll just sit here learning all these things for free.
it.
Yeah. So, that's good. That's good, man. So, hopefully, you can come back to the podcast and share with the people, because these things we need to hear them more often.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
And if I do have a podcast as well, which I'm sure you'll probably put
that's
the note.
right.
Wealth is a Journey on YouTube. It's at CHE.Willis, WILLIS, on YouTube, and I talk about successes. I talk about failures, all the things that mindset, all that stuff that you're going to need on your wealth building journey. So tap in.
That's right. Yes. If you want to learn about money, you want to learn about budgeting and everything, go ahead and check out Wealth is a Journey.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
And that's a mindset we need to build to understand it's a journey. It's not tomorrow. Right. There is no overnight success. Right.
Correct.
So if someone is successful overnight, it's because they've been working on it a long time ago and you didn't see them. Right.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
man, great. Thank you so much, Jay. All right. So, I'll invite you back to the podcast, man, so you can share more knowledge with the people. But I really appreciate the time you spent with us here. And yes, any last word you want to share with the people before we leave?
Nah, man. Whether you use me or you figure out how to do a budget on your own, just do one. Write down your expenses, write down how much income you got coming in, and then just go through, see where you can cut, see where you can shave, and put that money to work for you. Get rid of your
Okay.
consumer, so you'll have more money to invest or and build for the future. That's it.
Excellent. So you have a program. Your program, is it does it have a definite time to complete it, or it's indefinite? So you work with the person until they are good.
It's a one time thing. One time thing. We work on a budget. So we work on a budget. You tell me
Mm-hmm.
everything. We do an actual budget together.
Okay.
Then we record it, and then I send it to you. So if you have any questions on how to actually do it, and then
Mm-hmm.
what we talk about in your budget, then you can watch it and
Okay.
what with you and find out, hey, did you do your budget this month? Do you have any questions? So you'll have my information to reach out, email, call, and if you have any questions or you guys get stuck, I've had that happen before. Somebody had some questions or whatever the case may be. They called me up and we got them going in the right direction. But yeah, man. And again, I understand it's new. It's something new, which is the reason why you have the recording so you can go back and watch it because it's going
Mm.
to repetition in order for you to get it right.
Well, so that's not really hard. You do the work. The how much time may it take you to budget for one person?
For one person, maybe an hour, if that,
Wow.
maybe. It's all numbers, it's all math. So if you tell
Okay.
me this and then you tell me you have all this coming out, okay, what's left over? If there's anything left over. Sometimes there's people in the thousands in the red. And then I make recommendations. Hey, well, maybe you need to cut this. And if you cut this, then the number starts going down and down and down.
Mm.
So they might have been thousands in the red. Maybe they might be a couple $100s in the red now.
Yeah.
Cut and we shave. But they have to believe that they can do it. And once they do that, that's when the magic happens. I can show you what to do, but you have to believe that you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, after we get off the call, it's over. Like, so it's, yeah,
Hopefully we can have a live event together where you do that live with the people and have them go through it and whatever. That would be powerful.
absolutely. Look, listen, and I have, I forget what episode it is on my podcast, but I have, an actual me doing a mock budget with myself, just plugging in.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is the app that I use. This is the income. These are the things. So it's all done. It's all done live in real
Oh
time. So
wow.
yeah, you can go back and look at it. I think it's called budgeting for beginners on
Okay.
yes. So it's
Budgeting
one
for beginners. So
it's
you
on one of
also share the apps that you use to do it, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's every dollar it's a Dave Ramsey app that I use. It's completely
Mm-hmm.
free. They do
Okay.
um they do have a paid portion. I don't use the paid portion
Mm-hmm.
because it helps you be less disciplined. Because you
Oh.
swipe a card at the grocery store and say you have $1,000 budgeted for the month for groceries, and then you go to the grocery store and then you swipe it, it automatically puts it into the grocery column for you. But I believe to build the discipline, you go to the grocery store and you spend $100 out of your grocery budget, you log it yourself, and that's going to
Mm.
muscle.
Yeah, the mental thing.
Correct. Correct. It's going to help
Man,
you
that's a lot. So how you call the app again?
every dollar.
Every dollar.
Yeah, it's on Android and you can do it on your computer, and it's on the Apple iPhone as well. I would recommend that you put it on your phone because when you leave the
Mm-hmm.
store, whatever you budgeted for, you can just plug it in there, and then it'll tell you how much you have left to spend in that category.
Oh wow.
You set the category, so it's not somebody's doing for you. You're doing that.
Yeah.
I'm spending $1,000 uh, for groceries. I'm spending $225 on gas, tolls, electricity, boom, boom, boom. And then as soon as that bill comes in, you log it.
Mm.
And then you'll know exactly how much money you have left.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's powerful, man. Thank you so much, man. I'm not gonna get you to share all the free things here. Man, if you want to learn more about what Che is doing, go to Wealth is a Journey, and you will learn much more about what Che is doing for the community, man. Che, thank you so much again, man, for being part of the podcast today. It's amazing what you've shared with us. I took some notes. And thank you, everybody, for watching the video today. Wealth is a journey, and it's possible for you to build it.
Sure.
All right.